I want you to imagine that you spent hours on end working on an artistic masterpiece, the most beautiful thing you've ever produced, the Mona Lisa of our time. Then I want you to imagine that the next day you see it posted on the internet, but under someone else's name. Think about how you'd feel. Disappointed? Angry? Shocked? Well, this imagination is actually the reality for many creators across the internet. To combat this, strict copyright systems have been implemented across the web that protect the creativity of individual works. These systems, however, have heavily restricted users' abilities to utilize the works of others fairly. However, there are some ways to utilize creative works in ways that abide by these laws. Let's take a look at some of them. The public domain is by far the simplest way to use other works. This category encompasses resources that are entirely free to use and modify. These works are usually either produced by the government or have existed long enough that their copyright protection has expired. The issue with using public domain resources, however, is that they're often hard to come by and aren't always useful for a specific subject. In order to utilize works that are more specialized, there are two types of licenses that allow the use of protected works. The first is paid licensing, which at its simplest is paying to use copyrighted works. This comes in two forms: outright monetization, where a user pays a creator directly for the right to use their work, and royalties, where the original creator receives a portion of the revenue generated by the project. This licensing is usually the most open, as it allows copyright materials to be utilized and modified in any way seen fit by the user. The other type of licensing that exists for copyrighted works is Creative Commons licensing. Creative Commons is an organization that allows the use of copyright-protected works for free under certain conditions. These conditions are as follows: attribution, work must cite the author and original works; share alike, adaptations shared under the original attribution; non-commercial, utilizing work cannot generate revenue; and no derivatives, the work cannot be modified or edited. These conditions combine to form the licenses seen here. Finally, there are often cases where copyright systems don't necessarily apply. These fall under a legally defensive term known as fair use. For a case to fall under the blanket of fair use, it depends on four factors. 1, is the work commercial or transformative? 2, is the work creative or factual in nature? 3, how much of the original work is used? And 4, does its use negatively impact the creator's market? Fair use is often the most complicated of these to understand as it changes from case to case, but it is the only way to utilize copyrighted work without licensing. Now let's understand the punishments for going against copyright law. By not fulfilling one of those four conditions, it becomes a case known as copyright infringement. Committing copyright infringement can cause the violator to face one or more of the following penalties: paying for damages and profits due to the invalid use, fines ranging from $200,000 to $150,000 for each work infringed, paying for legal fees, having work impounded, and or suffering jail time.